Hi, Helder. How are you doing this weekend?
Good man, really, really good. I'm a pretty big fan of your work, man. Your documentaries are amazing. They're really, really interesting to watch, man. Yeah, congratulations and congrats on hitting 15K followers.
Yeah, we're about as of this interview, we're about 40 away.
Hell yeah, that's big, man. Congrats, that's really awesome.
That's just up from 10,000 just October, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, people love this kind of stuff, man. Like like genuinely just talk about the beauty of video games and the beauty of how they're made, and the human beings behind them. And you touch on that kind of stuff. I really really love it.
Did you follow our previous work at Only SP before I started Gameumentary, or?
No, I did not. What kind of stuff did you do?
We it was all daily news, but a lot of like kind of the inspiration for the Gameumentary docs came from these articles that we did that we called Spotlight, and we did like these basically big feature articles that went into like deep subjects about games and all that.
Yeah, I love it.
One of the very first ones we ever did was like an Alien Isolation post-mortem.
I gotta dig that up, man. I love that game. That's one of the best games I played in the year it came out. I don't know, it's been a while. What, 2016?
That came out in 2014.
No shit. Wow, time flies.
That was a long time ago.
Man, that game is good though. That game is it's very immersive. They nailed that 70s kind of like art direction.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a
Sci-fi.
shame that the blackout's on mobile, but
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
The new Alien game.
yep, it's a mobile game. But a lot of times I think they do those mobile games to see, is there still interest in this franchise and what can we do
yeah,
later on?
Yeah, and they probably want to get a wider audience or something.
Yeah. So have you had a good start to the new year?
Yeah, man, it was dope. Yeah, I want to start. I announced Europa like a few months ago, actually 6 months ago. I know that because I actually announced the game. I put the little teaser trailer out in the same day that my son was born. Like it was something that I always wanted to do. And, I've been so busy. I kind of like, okay, now I got to learn how to be a dad and be productive at the same time, right? It's funny though, man. Like I actually gotta say by being a father, you actually feel a lot more productive. And not only feel more productive, you actually are more productive. You actually you value your time a lot more. And so yeah, like I actually basically just resumed working on Europa, just a couple weeks ago actually. Yeah, because I'm basically trying to work on it daily, do like at least an hour a day. It's all about routine. It's like going to the gym. You gotta turn it into this routine, get back to it every day, and it's like building a wall one brick at a time. But yeah, 2019 so far so awesome, man. How about you?
Oh, not too bad. Just releasing that video, and then we're going to Amsterdam in 6 days. So
That's
it's
awesome. I love
starting
that
off pretty
city.
quick. It's third time to Europe in a year. I'm
Third
kind of sick
time?
of plane flights. Yeah, third time. We went to Prague and then Belgium, and now
Oh, that's
Amsterdam.
That's cool. Yeah, you went to talk with the studio that made Mafia. What's the name of the studio again?
We didn't talk with the studio that made Mafia. That was 2K Czech, but we talked to the guys that made Kingdom Come Deliverance, and that's Warhorse
Exactly.
Studios.
Oh, that was dope. Yeah, that was a really awesome video. I really love that.
That was a fun one.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, I could
Although
tell.
when we were in Prague, finding a cheeseburger isn't as simple as it sounds.
Oh yeah, why is that?
every restaurant we went to had a different idea of what a cheeseburger was. So I think one of them, it was like a beef schnitzel with like mushrooms in it. I was like, what? I don't know
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's it's
And
like a
then
hybrid of American and German and who knows what else.
the next time I got a cheeseburger, it was like a pork burger with no cheese on it. I was really really confused.
Maybe the cheese is injected into the meat.
I would have been okay with that, but it sure didn't taste like that. But, yeah, so let's talk about Europa though. Enough about me. So that teaser trailer you released a few months ago seemed to resonate with quite a few people. For those watching that haven't heard of Europa before, can you kind of explain what you're building?
So Europa is it's kind of hard to explain because it's actually a genre of games that's not very it's not I'm not gonna say it's not very popular, but it's not very usual. Like people used to call this kind of games like walking simulators, right? Nowadays, I guess we sort of call it like an art game. I'm not gonna say there's no combat because in these sort of games, usually there's some challenge there, but mostly the focus is to be like a how can I put this? Almost like a relaxing game, you know. Yet, there's just enough challenge that it's rewarding to get from one area to the other for more than just the visuals, and like these challenges that I'm trying to build, they're basically like environmental hazards, with like very simple platforming sequences and like light puzzles that you unlock by exploring basically, and these usually entail platforming as well. And just stop me anytime, by the way, if you have
You're fine.
any question. Okay, so this game is like split into like linear sections and wider areas, and that's basically like at the core of the game, right? That exploration, and as you play, you keep improving your character's ability to fly or glide, as I call it actually, which will further the exploration and give you the ability to solve light exploration puzzles, and I don't think you won't unlock like new abilities for your character per se. I want to keep it very very minimal, and hopefully that this kind of like pillar that I have translates into everything that I'm making, including the art direction as well, but all the way down to the gameplay, because rather than the characters just gaining new abilities, the levels will offer the challenges for you, and that sense of progression from one level to the other, because you can actually you can do a lot with environmental storytelling, like immersing the player in the world that you're trying to build. There's all of these like intrinsic stories that you can inject everywhere, that people they sort of like they absorb that, and it's funny because like you sort of like you project your own meaning into this world too. It's one of my pillars as well that I want to have for Europa. It's almost like awe and like bliss too. Awe is like it's a fundamental human experience basically. And it's actually like rarely explored in video games. It's done, of course. Like I actually just downloaded Grizz on the Switch yesterday. Have you played that yet?
Not yet, but I know what it is.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet. I just downloaded it and I really want to pick it up. But it seems like to be in the same realm, has the same like DNA to what I'm trying to build here. And it's really interesting. It feels like it exists in the same realm as like Journey and Abzu. Have you played those games?
I've played Journey, and I've messed with Abzu, but I never finished it.
Yeah, Abzu is really interesting. Yeah, these kind of games are really interesting, man. They're usually just like an hour or two long. It's just basically the same length as, like a movie or something. So it's you sit down and you play it, and you kind of like you get this story and then you inject whatever you want to it and you just feel good after, you know. And so yeah, I want to try and provide that experience, you know, like give people that opportunity to just have a moment where you feel small, but you know, you feel wonder at the same time, you know, small in comparison to the world, you know, to nature, to, you know, civilizations that came before you, like the universe, you know, yet you're a part of this whole, you know, no matter how insignificant you think you might be, you know, you might actually be more important than you realize.
Cool. So how long have you been working on Europa then? I know you're also an artist at Blizzard working on Overwatch. So and you just mentioned that you just had a kid, so it must be difficult to find the time to work on Europa while also doing Overwatch stuff and raising a child.
Yeah, so how long have I been working on it? I've been kind of like been working on it on and off for, I know like when I put this little teaser trailer out, I've worked on it on and off for like a year. So probably like a year and a half now if you total it all. So yeah, so basically around that a year and a half, almost two actually. So I actually started out by exploring the art direction first. I have like a pretty detailed game design document with all the ideas that I have for the story. I have the story written up as well, and I have like something that I wanted to try to do as well. I wanted to write almost like a pre-story. We can talk about that later a little bit if you want to. And so I got that all written up, how the gameplay is going to be, and I'm trying to like almost like separate it into phases, you know. So the first phase was to explore the art direction, what the art was gonna be like, and I'm really fascinated by watercolor and these watercolor movies like Ghibli and Miyazaki movies. I was very latecomer to those sort of movies, man. I only watched them on my late 20s or something, and I'm like, my life has been a lie. This is fucking amazing, you know. And so I was like, I really got into those sort of movies, and I love when you're watching the movie. There's like a handcrafted feeling to it, to everything, all the way from the story all the way to how the picture looks like. Like you can almost see like the texture of the paper in the screen, and I was like, people have tried to do this sort of like art in video games, but I wonder if I could do it, you know, because it's actually like something that I haven't done yet. I've been making environments for games for a while, and it's like, man, this is like uncharted territory, not only for me but for a lot of people too. So I want to try like and dig into that and see what I can do, and you know, not exactly just copy it, because you know, you don't want to have like a one-to-one, but usually when you have a very very strong inspiration, like you see where that core comes from, but it sort of like goes in your own separate way, right? Like as you try to do something, you inject your DNA into it, and it's sort of like something new kind of gets born.
So you kind of mentioned some of the base elements that Europa would feature. So and I know we do know that it's a third person adventure game, but what kind of gameplay elements are you putting in it? I know you mentioned a lot of it's gonna be environmental storytelling and, you know, blockers for the player. So maybe you
Right.
can kind of describe kind of what you're trying to build there.
So basically, yeah, basically a sense of a progression through environmental storytelling and very light puzzles. And these puzzles are basically some very light blockers in the environment, and these are there not exactly for the challenge too, but basically to incentivize exploration as well, you know. And because I don't want to do any you know, classical combat in this. So yeah, so as I mentioned before, you know, environmental hazards, there's a lot you can do with just the world, the environment being your best friend and your worst enemy at the same time, you know. So yeah, environmental hazards, platforming sequences, and light puzzles basically are the core of what I'm trying to do here.
Mm-hmm. There's also going to be like narrative elements to it too. Like I thought Maybe I'm misremembering, but I think in the trailer you have like a narration kind of going over it.
Yeah, so I'm trying. So I'm trying like. So this is kind of a conundrum that I see myself here too. Like I want to try and do something with no words, right? But at the same time, maybe a simple quotation is vague enough that will get you into the mood of what I'm trying to show you here. Because if you just show just a very abstract piece of art to someone, you might see something completely different than I will, But if there's like just a quote in there, just a hint of like mental direction, it might help situate people where you want them to be. So yeah, so I'm trying to inject, I guess, a little bit of philosophy. I guess a little bit in there, because I think if you put the player in that right state of mind, you might see the world of Europa, the world I'm trying to be, in the sort of like eyes that I want you to look through it, because you sort of want to have just a little bit of control to be able to tell the story that you want to tell, right? So that was basically like the meaning behind that. So their meaning is also, because like it's, I don't know if I should talk about it, because I have like a story written, but of course I don't want to like
right. That's the focus of the game. So yeah, I wouldn't expect you to spoil anything on that.
Yeah. And I want to.
I was just curious on like how it's going to be delivered to the player. If it's if you're doing like an overworld narration kind of thing, or if there's going to be like items for them to pick up or whatever.
Right. So I thought about that. I was actually thinking about that last night. Actually, like a narration would be great. Have you played a game? I think it's on PS4 called Everything.
I have not. I have heard.
I think it's called Everything.
It looks very weird.
It looks weird as fuck. Yeah, exactly. I don't think Europa will be that weird, but it's definitely weird. But they use narration in the game to a really interesting way. I thought about that. I haven't exactly made up my mind yet, but in my mind I would probably just have like just a very simple quote to open each level and close each level as well. Almost like you are following this hero's journey, but you are also almost like injecting your own life into it, your own meaning into it, and hopefully learn something from it too, So the story, I wonder if I could talk a little bit about the story actually, because
maybe give me like an idea of like what the overarching narrative is about.
Yeah, of course. Like I wrote. So like I said before, I sort of have like two stories written, and one is actually the story that the game actually takes place in the very beginning, right? And the other story, I actually wrote it just for me to develop the game, which is like I just call it almost like a establishing story. Like, where does the game take place? Does the game take place on planet Earth, like just a fantasy universe? Where is it, right? Are there human beings? Are there monsters? Are there robots? And so basically, the story here is that the game takes place on planet Earth, and there's no human beings, right? Which is weird, of course, but it actually takes place after another ice age, and that's why this teaser trailer actually looks very like springy. You get like a lot of like spring vibes, but if you look at the backdrop, there's still a lot of snow, because the planet is still melting. The planet is still like a planet-wide spring. That's basically what I'm trying to sell here. And I was thinking it would be cool, like, but where would all the human beings go, right? Like there was another ice age, and something happened that I don't think I'm ready to reveal yet, but basically all human beings ran off to another planet, which was the planet Europa, which is another planet full of ice as well, right? Maybe human beings developed this technology where they can terraform planets with a lot of snow and a lot of ice, right? So basically, I was like, okay, so what if you're still on planet Earth, There's no human beings, but you don't exactly play as a human being. You actually play as like a little robot. It's almost like this hybrid between robots and a human kid, you know. And you're actually the last survivor of this previous civilization that existed before you. And I guess that's it that I want to reveal. I don't know. I hope that makes sense. I'm sorry if I'm
Yeah,
rambling
no, it
here.
sounds like an interesting concept.
So yeah, I do. So something that I want to try and do it as well. Um, games have tried to do this with just one character, but it's really challenging to write story with just one character, right? So it's like, what the hell do I just do with just one person? There's no dialogue. There's no like meaningful relationships you can have with anyone, right? So what I want to try and do, and this is no spoiler because I'm probably just gonna show it in the first 5 minutes of the game. But even though you're the last survivor, like this kid that you play with, is actually the product of the last actual human on Earth, right? Like imagine you're the last human on Earth. What the hell do you do, right? To me, at least, you probably try and fabricate and build something to kind of like make sure that your values just stay alive, right? Like you wanna pass forward that very important torch, right? So that's what having kids is as well. And so even though so that's basically it. You're the offspring of this last human on Earth, and I almost like a Pinocchio and Geppetto sort of relationship there. And it's probably the extent of what I want to reveal here in terms of the story, because I still want to change a lot of this stuff. As, and yeah, man. Hopefully that sounds interesting enough.
Yeah, I like the idea of like a completely singular protagonist or whatever. I feel like in the world you're building, that could feel like a really isolating experience, and that sounds kind of unique to me.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why I mentioned before. I want you to feel small in relation to this world that you inhabit.
All right. So when people first saw the trailer for the game, a lot of people were already comparing the game to like the likes of Journey and Studio Ghibli, like you said. Did that add a lot of pressure for you, seeing comparisons like that so early?
Interesting question. I don't know. I kind of like. I guess I was a little bit surprised by, it's and happy in a good way that people immediately got what I tried to do here. Even though I didn't show any characters, I didn't show. Well, there's a glimpse of a character model at the end there, which I changed already. So
Yeah, I was gonna
but
say YouTube wasn't too happy with that one.
yeah, exactly. Like I actually like. Yeah, that character model. Like I've been going back and forth with that thing for like a year now. I think the main character has been through at least 15 iterations. Cause like yeah, when I did that, like I was trying to like you don't want to you never want to be in the middle of anything, right? In terms of story, art direction, you never want to be in the middle of nothing. Like that's usually not a good place to be. So when I started doing this, I'm like, okay, so maybe I'll just build like a little robot that's like 80% robot and 20% human. But I don't think that worked very well. So actually, right now, I actually flipped it. It's gonna be very Pinocchio-like, very like 80% very relatable to us, but the other 20% you can like inject these little like tech bits, like limbs and other like techie elements in the design. So I'm actually having a lot of fun going back and forth with the character, because it's really important, man. It's what you're looking at for the majority of a third person game, right? So yeah, I was pretty happy that and surprised that was like, yeah, this is awesome. People got it. Yeah, this is exactly where I'm trying to go. I didn't need to show gameplay for people to know exactly what the gameplay. Well, maybe not exactly, but at least a vague idea of what the gameplay will feel like.
So is your Europa going to be a smaller experience, or are you planning to do any sort of crowdfunding for the game at any point, or?
I think I'm actually really enjoying just sitting down and doing my own thing. I'm finding it very liberating and creative. Just just slowly trying to build this wall one brick at a time is a very rewarding experience. But I've been noticing that just for me there's a lot of momentum building up. But so I might like welcome just like do like a very small team, maybe another programmer to help me out, because I'm not, because I've been an environment artist for a few years now, and it's my area of expertise, and it's actually one of the reasons I started out the Europa by just exploring the art, because it's the realm that I'm most comfortable with. But one of the main reasons as well that I'm trying to do this is to sort of try and branch out to to programming with scripting, working with sound, and working with everything that entails with making a game. So I think, sure, I might expand it slowly, but I don't think, I doubt I will go the crowdfunding route. These things change, but it's definitely not my plan for now.
Sure. All right. Anything else you'd like our viewers to know about Europa?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at I forgot, actually. I think it's Europa.
Yep.
Yeah, it's at Europa Game on Twitter, and you can also follow me on Twitter at Helder HP. And I guess that's it, man. Keep following me. I will try. I doubt I will do very granular updates. I think I want to try and slowly put some content out, but I want that content to be very meaningful and almost like part of the game before the game is even out. So yeah, man, stay tuned, and I should be able to put some interesting stuff out soon.
Sweet. All right. Well,
thank you so much, Nick.
Yeah, thanks for your time, Helder, and good luck with finishing the game.
Thank you.